Alright, I'm gonna do this video here, and I'm a big skeptic, but after my daddy passed away and went through the services, it was real emotional and hard to deal with. But 3 days before his passing, I had a dream, and that dream was exactly how he passed away 3 days later at the hospital. And after going through that stuff, and we went to the funeral services, the pictures came back, and I noticed that there was some, I guess you could say, discrepancies in the pictures. And I did some research and study on this, and I've come to the conclusion that this has to be evidence of some form of afterlife existence. And according to scientists, the human body has electricity energy, and according to scientists, that energy cannot be destroyed. And according to quantum physics, that energy is transferred into another state upon death of the body. But energy, by scientists, says that it cannot be destroyed. And I'm going to show you these pictures, and you're just going to have to kind of be, I guess, your own judge, but I'm convinced that this is evidence that there is an afterlife. And these pictures was taken in sequence. I don't know if you can see these very well, but that picture you can see very slightly up in this area that there's a little orb there. And as we move and we go to the next film, the next shot of the picture, we can see that right up in this area right here is another one. And as we move along, there is another, my hand's getting in the way there, there's another orb there, and off to the side over here, right here, you can see one. And of course, as you can see, this is a progression. This is actually going from the beginning where we was pallbearing him and placing him in his final resting place. And the funny thing about it is as the pictures go, these orbs mysteriously seem to be gathering more and more visual, picking them up. And of course, it took me a minute to kind of get this together, but these pictures have not been altered in any way. And as it continued, the orbs became more obvious to the visual aid. As you can see, there's several of them in this picture here that has been taken. Right in here, there's some right in here, here, and here. Then of course, as it progresses on, you can see even more of these mysterious orbs that has come up. This one, actually, I compared this one to a past relative picture of my daddy's family side, which they're all buried in this same graveyard. And when I looked at the picture, I could see what looked to me to be a face of a woman right here, right in here. Here's the eyes right here, and the nose. And if you looked at the picture of my dad's grandmother, of course, you would see that closely resembles the outline of her facial features. And of course, like I said, it's kind of overwhelming to view it. And of course, the next picture is even more evidence, in my opinion, that there is absolutely something going on that is not dust particles, as some people say about orbs. The reason why I say this is because it is very obvious that if this was dust and wind and everything, that these other orbs here would be also moving, but they're not. And as you can see, this one right here is obviously, very obviously energy. Very obviously energy. That is not a dust particle. That is not a result of wind blowing. That has to be a form of energy moving right there. If it was wind and dust, all of these that are in here, even this, see this over here, it's sitting perfectly still, but this is in motion. And if I can get this held tight enough, slow enough, you'll see back here what appears to look like another face in the background here. And you know, it's took me a minute to actually kind of deal with this because the emotions involved, and I was real hurt of my dad's passing because I loved him so much, and I was grieving him. And I laid down in the bed, and I don't ever remember going to sleep. And I remember raising up, and I went into my living room where I actually saw my dad, physically seen him sitting on the couch. I put my hand on his knee and I knelt down in front of him like I always did, and I was talking to him, and he just kind of looked at me and he was just laughing. He never really said anything. And I said, "Daddy," I said, "you want a cup of coffee?" We went and fixed him a cup of coffee, brought it back to him. And the funny thing about it is I knew that my dad had passed away. I was conscious of that fact. And he was just laughing every time I said something to him. And I asked him, I said, "Daddy," I said, "they're going to be shocked when they see you back up there for treatments on Monday." And he just laughed. And when he was laughing, I noticed that he wouldn't answer me. So I asked him, I said, "Daddy," I said, "you know you passed away at the hospital, don't you?" And no sooner than I said them words, he just laughed, and I raised up from the bed, and it was like it was a dream. But I don't remember ever falling asleep from it, and I don't really remember actually having a waking experience about it. I just remember raising back up from the bed, and I was confused because I didn't know how to process it. But after seeing these pictures, I did my research, and like I said, you can too, about quantum physics and human body and energy and what scientists say about that. And of course, I'm a God-fearing Christian, and I believe that there is an afterlife, and I believe there is a God, and I believe this is evidence that when we depart our physical bodies, that our energy is transformed into another state. And like I said, at this particular graveyard, what I found also compelling evidence is that all of his family members and all of my family members are buried in this graveyard, which kind of accounts for all the orbs you see. So I guess you'll have to just kind of be your own judge and do what you think and decide, make up your own decision. But I believe that this is evidence of life after death, and I strongly encourage those to kind of check it out and study it. And if you like the video, like it and hit me up. Later.